law in law school. Do you have a friend who's a lawyer, and don't you think they have it all? They know it all? Well, this book proves that maybe they don't. Brett Renzenbrink joins me today. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
First of all, tell me what does 4L mean?
Okay, so first of all, before I get started, I did want to thank Fox. I want to say
it's our pleasure.
I want to say Happy International Women's Day. There's a lot of very important women in my life who've brought me to this point, and one of whom is my grandmother, Barbara Sullivan, who passed away this week. So I want to say thank you to her, thank you to all the women, my mom, every woman in my life, and every woman professional. I just want to say thank you to all of them, and a Happy International Women's Day.
Now, I was gonna kind of berate you for upstaging me just there, but after you talked about your grandmother, nice job.
Absolutely.
4L, what does that mean?
4L. So in law school, at least in America, what I went through is you go through 1L, 2L, 3L, which denotes where you are in law school.
Okay.
4L then is an extension of that process. And actually what I learned through the process of speaking about 4L and the book and the mission, I sort of learned that I, in some ways, am symbolic of what 4L is, the embodiment of kind of always continuing that evolution, that practice evolution, and always continuing to learn and evolve yourself. So 4L really is an extension of law school, and it's kind of a mission statement for lawyers who really desire to continue to better themselves as professionals from there on.
Well, especially when you talk about people who have reached their profession that they wanted to be in for so long, you think, I'm done. But that's not the case, correct? Whether you're a lawyer or whether you're a broadcaster or a journalist.
Yeah, no, and I think, so it's interesting you bring up broadcasting because one of the things that I continually talk about in the book and as part of the speaking platform is how technology has impacted what we do as professionals.
Right.
A lot of those, including yourself, me, we're no different in that we are our own product.
Right.
And technology out there is very smart, and it creates a lot of efficiencies for us, but it also creates a landscape that's difficult for some people to navigate. In your world, you know, think about the way that the news platform has changed in the last 20 years.
Right, people watch it on their phones while they're on the subway. They watch it on their iPad. They don't necessarily have to be in front of their television, so it's not appointment TV anymore.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be home at 6 to get caught up on the news. You can watch it anytime on cable. You can watch it on your phone. You get alerts all day.
Right. So for the normal consumer, why does someone continually retune in to you versus going to those other proliferation of news sites? The connection is trust, and it's all those things that make you who you are.
Sure. How does that translate into being a lawyer?
So it's the exact same thing in law. There's a lot of outfits out there through artificial intelligence that try to sort of commoditize what it is that we do, the same way that you go through. And what's important, what's key in 4L is continually evolving yourself and learning how to leverage that landscape, not be a subject of it, not be somebody who's being who's competing with it, but how do we use those platforms and how do we use ourselves? You know, those things that make us us, and that make people trust us as attorneys. How do we emphasize those characteristics and leverage technology?
Here's what I said. I mean, when my bosses asked me to do this, I said I'll do it as long as I'm interested in the subject I'm talking about. Period. Right?
Yep.
I'm not going to sit there and try to sell the show or a story we have coming up, because people can smell a sell from 1,000 miles away. Click, goodbye, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Right.
Correct?
Correct. So part of what the book is really about, I mean, when I first started writing the book, it was about just client development. You know, it was a reaction to what I was seeing in the marketplace, a lot of traditional philosophies in law about how do you build a practice. And a lot of what I was believing and what I connected with was very non-traditional. Then you enter into the idea of technology. You know, the last 5 years, a lot has changed in law and just across the board. You know, technology is always changing. On top of that, what it became was really emphasizing empowerment as part of the message. So, I've never really talked about this on camera, but 10 months ago when I decided to publish the book, okay, so the why has sort of changed over time.
Sure.
And 10 months ago I woke up with what's called Bell's palsy, okay, and what Bell's palsy is, it causes half of your face to completely shut down.
Sure.
So the reason why it's relevant is when I had written the book, I had it in the can, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. And then when I had that, it sort of causes you to, it suppresses your freedom of expression in a lot of ways. You can't really speak. So for me, it's kind of a scar on me still that reminds me that I should be continually expressing myself in ways that make me self-actualized and not just being an ideal, because the ideal is what creates a lack of authenticity. It creates a barrier between you and connecting with your audience.
But also the ideal is what paralyzes you because you're always trying to get it perfect, correct?
100% right.
And if you're not out there willing to take the risk in looking like an idiot,
right,
then that's not very authentic because you've thought about things too much. You're too tight, right?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, so as part of this process, I've also been doing speaking engagements, right? So I've been to law schools, I'm doing CLE platforms, and I'm talking about the book as well as just all of these concepts. And what continually comes up is trying to shy away from, when you're in law school, for example, you have this ideal, of what the perfect attorney is. So a lot of what I preach is there's always somebody out there who's going to be that ideal better than you, and there's nobody out there, tech or otherwise, that can be you better than you. So why not, instead of being your ideal, why not focus on those things that make you who you are, make you authentic, and bring you, and basically make you incapable of being knocked off, but also lower the barriers between you and your client base, which is a very radical concept in law, by the way. Law is very about, you got to be very polished, you got to be very straight up and down.
Yeah, that's why those books are so complicated.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I try to do is kind of demystify the whole process and really make the star of the show the individual law student, lawyer, somebody who's trying to keep up with the times. But again, it goes back to you never arrive. So part of this process is there's no such thing as a perfect professional. There is no ideal because the moment you think you're perfect, then you're already behind the curve, right? Because technology and everybody out there is evolving, right? So you can, every time that you take 5 seconds to congratulate yourself, you're 6 seconds behind.
Correct. 'Cause you never stand still because the world is moving past you.
Absolutely.
You're falling behind.
Absolutely. So the book is really, and it's a static book, right? It's not a living thing.
Sure.
But as I go through this process of speaking engagements, and I'm doing this whole platform where I'm continually promoting the book, things are evolving all the time. So part of my charge is to, through the 4L mission, I'm continually reassessing and continually reevaluating all the time too.
How can people find out more about the book and speaking engagements?
So if anybody, it's very simple. So if somebody wants to figure out, find out more about the book, let's say you're somebody who's in law school, or you have somebody who's a family member, a child who's in law school, especially a young lawyer, or somebody who's an older lawyer trying to keep up with the times, and figure out what it is about technology. They're kind of, how do I use this? How do I utilize this? How do I leverage this? They can go to 4lthebook.com. That's the numeral 4, the letter L, thebook.com, 4lthebook.com. And it can link you to my YouTube page, my Instagram, which is The Logonomist, where there's a lot of great stuff that continually comes out. We have a newsletter. All the speaking engagements are there. You can buy the book. I mean, it's available today.
Sure.
So if anybody's out there and is interested, I would highly recommend. I mean, I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I'm a big believer and very proud of it. So I hope that people connect with it. And the response so far has been incredible. You were at the launch last week.
There's a lot of people there.
150 people or so. I mean, I apologize to Alfio at Butcher and Barrel because we went over. I think that we went over the health code maximum capacity, but it was all in good fun. And the response online has been incredible. The response to the speaking platforms has been incredible. People are really connecting with the message.
Right. All the best to you, man.
Thank you.
Congratulations, too.
Thank you.
I mean that. Now I want to talk about something else. And while I look at the camera, I want to tell someone in the control room, this is unprofessional, but this is what I need to do. To go out to my desk and get my phone because I think people are going to comment on this because I'm going to tell you a story. And you're going to find out the reason why I tell you the story at the end. I called someone today, and she told me about a 13-year-old single mom, right? 13 years old, and she's a single mom. And the baby was the result of a sexual assault. She's 19 years old today. Steve Horsemeyer, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
She's 19 years old today, right? So you know that if you're 13 years old, you're a single mom, and you did not plan to have this baby, you know how your life can go left easily. And I think for the most of us, our life would go left, right? Even as smart as we may be, or as rich as we may be, or the family that we have, but if you're 13 years old and you're a single mom and your baby is a result of a sexual assault, you can know how it goes left. Well, today she's 19 years old. She got her high school diploma, GED, at 16 years old. At 18, she entered Cincinnati State in their culinary program. She's in the second year. She lives on her own. And guess what? She's raising her son. And the reason why her life did not go left is because of Mentoring Plus in Northern Kentucky, and they have an event coming up. Because when I tell you this on how you can get involved, you probably want to get involved after hearing about the story, because there's a lot of things we can do, but this seems to make a difference. Mickey Folger joining me this morning by phone, part of Mentoring Plus. Did I get that story correct?
Yes, there is a participant in our program that has that background. Yes.
And she was part of your program from 13 to 19 years old, Mentoring Plus. You got me. Tell me about it.
Well, as you might imagine, it's a nonprofit organization. We've been operating for about 9 years. It was created by Kevin and Brenda Kennedy, who are, I would categorize as very religious, and they believe that this was the ministry that God has asked them to do. Now, that's the religious type approach, but the reality of it is that Kevin worked for the Department of Juvenile Justice in Kentucky, as well as its predecessor, the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. He has 30 years dealing with disadvantaged teenagers and high at-risk teenagers.
Sure.
In fact,
I don't want to interrupt you.
But anytime.
But I want to ask you, that story is so incredible because, as I said, for most people, that would have been the most difficult of circumstances, and it seems like this young lady is thriving. Why do you think your program works so well in that case and in other cases that I'm sure I don't know about?
Yes, so she's one of our shining stars, our success stories, and we have several or many of those. I think it's been proven through research that we have my co-chair to this board of Mentoring Plus is a psychologist. He has a PhD in psychiatry and psychology, and he will tell the story that research has proven that one responsible adult or mentor or life coach, as we call them, one reliable person in a young person's life can make all the difference.
Cool.
Especially those who are missing a parent or both parents, and that's so often the case in today's society, that if one person will just be reliable and show up every week and be a friend, and the requirements or the talent that one needs to be a mentor is simply the ability to listen and to show up and be a friend. And that's truly the basics of it, and the success of it is based on that friendship. We have a video created, and we have speeches. One of our kids will speak at this event tomorrow night, and that is by far the highlight of the night. Now, I don't know how deep they'll go into their personal story, but you get the idea.
Sure, absolutely.
That they were heading down the wrong way. There's been several kids who have admitted, if it wasn't for this program, I'd be out robbing people. And that's the difference that this makes. And frankly, it's what this country needs. I'm a former family court judge, and I dealt with these kids on a daily basis. I did 35 years in juvenile court.
How did you not get jaded by seeing what you saw as a juvenile court judge for all those years?
Well, I am jaded. I'm very jaded, but life goes on. I can't turn my back to it. So when I retired, I was looking for the appropriate charity to put my time into. And by everything I saw as far as neglected kids and what would give them a chance in life, this was by far the best program I found. This is exactly what's needed. I had sent so many kids away to foster care or to residential treatment, and they'd come back and it'd be wonderful for about 5 weeks until they got back with all their old friends. And got into the same stuff. And this is so applicable now in our heroin crisis.
Well, okay, so, and I don't want to get too complicated and bogged down.
Okay.
I want to keep the focus on the mentoring program and Mentoring Plus. What do the adults get out of it? Because I think a lot of adults are apprehensive about getting involved because they don't know what they're getting into and think that the commitment is too much. But you said it's just once a week, correct? What do
once a week for about basically 3 hours, one night a week for 3 hours.
And what do the mentors tell you that they get out of it? Obviously, they get something out of it because you're going to recognize Dick Maley tomorrow, who's one of your longtime volunteers. In fact, had been with the organization since '09.
Yes, he's been around a while and he's still doing it, and it's people like that. And what they get out of it, they'll tell you they feel like they get more out of it than the kids do.
Sure.
It's a rewarding experience, and it's just like it when you're nice to someone or you do someone a good favor. Heck, if you just let somebody pass through a stop sign.
I know.
Things in life.
Absolutely. And imagine what effect it has when you meet with the kid 3 hours a week and have a genuine relationship with them. I'm going to repeat that story that I told you about in just a moment, and I'm going to tell you how you can get involved. A 13-year-old single mom who is with this program, Mentoring Plus in Northern Kentucky, from 13 to 19 years old. So even after she turned 18 and became an adult, she stayed with the program. From 13-year-old single mom to getting her high school diploma equivalency, her GED, then went to Cincinnati State at 18 in their culinary program, is in the second year of that program, lives on her own, and now is raising her son. It's Mentoring Plus that did that. You're having an event tomorrow, and it's one of your largest fundraisers. Tell me about that.
Yes, we're lucky. We have the Syndicate, which is probably the most beautiful banquet hall in Northern Kentucky, but that's where it will be. And it's a lovely event. We have live music.
And it starts at 6
Sit-down
o'clock.
dinner. I'm sorry?
It starts at 6 o'clock. Give me the website if people wanted to maybe show up or volunteer or actually just donate money because they've been looking for something to donate their money to.
Well, it's simple to remember, mentoringplus.org. That's our website. If you go to it, you'll see a section called Events. You click on Events, and you'll get an opportunity to sign up for this dinner and this banquet. And we got room. We're close to 300 folks at this point, but I think we can fit more.
All right. Mickey, all the best to you, and thank you for all the hard work you do after you retired. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for putting the word out.
You got it.
We appreciate it.
I want to talk to you about what I have coming up tomorrow, because I think it's kind of interesting. A few weeks back, maybe a month back, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he was talking to me about the 5 love languages, right? So I found out that the author is coming to town, I think, on Monday. So if you have problems talking or communicating with the loved one in your life, right? Boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, partner. If you have a hard time communicating with them, maybe you're using the wrong language. There are 5 love languages. Who knew, right? There are 5 love languages, and maybe you're not speaking the right language to your spouse or your partner or your boyfriend or girlfriend, and that's why you guys are always arguing, right? You don't understand me, you never listen to me. You don't understand what I'm saying. So that's coming up tomorrow, the author of the 5 love languages. And I'm also going to talk with someone about why in the heck is there daylight savings time? Why, before I go to sleep on Saturday, I need to spring my clock forward? That kind of ruins my week because I feel like I don't get enough sleep. Until then, take care. I'll see you at 6:30.